Inferior vermin! Alien Queen Orin cackled, her laughter echoing through the command bridge of the massive Hirogen Dreadnought. On the view screen, a transmission from an upstart race called humans played, their primitive plea for peace dripping with the naive ignorance of a species that had barely shed its tribal roots. Orin's mocking laughter abruptly choked off as the transmission changed. Earth's true face revealed itself, a war fleet of sleek silver dreadnoughts armed to the teeth with weapons that made her own flagship look like a child's plaything. This was no primitive race begging for mercy, but a slumbering giant now wide awake. Shaken, Orin summoned the Galactic Council, the galaxy's dozen most powerful races. But instead of a united front, the Council splintered. The ruthless Korgath demanded a preemptive strike, while others like the Zoor suggested an alliance to yoke Earth's might to their own ends. Amid the chaos, a lone human watched from the shadows. Chris Phillips, an infiltrator in Earth's eyes and ears. The weight of humanity's fate pressed down on him as he slipped away, racing back to warn Earth. If he failed, the Council's next transmission might be a declaration of war. But if he succeeded, humanity might just take its rightful place among the stars and change the face of the galaxy forever. The future balanced on a knife's edge, but one thing was certain. Earth would not go quietly into the night. The dreadnoughts were only the beginning. Orin's laughter would soon turn to ashes in her mouth as humanity rose to the challenge, armed not only with superior ships but with the courage, daring, and indomitable will that had propelled them from caves to the stars. A new age was dawning, and this time, the galaxy would learn to fear the sound of human laughter. As the Galactic Council erupted into a cacophony of arguments and accusations, Ambassador Jace Sullivan strode into the chamber, his presence commanding immediate attention. The seasoned diplomat surveyed the room, taking in the varied expressions of the assembled alien leaders, some curious, others openly hostile. Queen Orin's piercing gaze locked onto Jace, her displeasure evident in the tightening of her jaw. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Jace began, his voice carrying across the suddenly silent room. I come before you today as a representative of Earth, seeking to forge a path of cooperation and mutual understanding between our worlds. Queen Orin scoffed, her voice dripping with disdain. Cooperation? You humans have kept your true capabilities hidden from this council. How can we trust any overture of friendship from a species that deals in such deception? Jace met the Queen's accusatory stare unflinchingly. Earth's advancements were born of necessity, not deceit. We seek not to threaten, but to contribute to the greater galactic community. As the debate intensified, Captain Nikolai Petrov stood on the bridge of the EDS Prometheus, the sleek lines of the dreadnought cutting through the void of space. Beside him, Dr. Ilara Voss pored over the data streaming across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. Any leads on the origin of our tech? Nikolai asked, his eyes scanning the stars ahead. Ilara shook her head, frustration evident in her posture. Nothing concrete. It's as if the answers we seek are always just out of reach. Unbeknownst to the crew of the Prometheus, a cloaked ship tracked their progress from a distance. Aboard the vessel, the enigmatic figure known as the emissary watched, their features obscured by a hooded robe. A smile played across their lips as they manipulated the holographic display before them, pieces falling into place like a cosmic game of chess. Back in the council chamber, alliances shifted and reformed as Jace navigated the treacherous waters of galactic politics. Some members, swayed by the potential benefits of an alliance with Earth, began to voice their support, while others, their suspicions fueled by Queen Orin's whispers, remained steadfast in their opposition. As the Prometheus ventured deeper into uncharted space and the Galactic Council teetered on the brink of fracture, the true nature of the challenges facing Earth and the galaxy began to reveal themselves. Ancient secrets stirred in the depths of the cosmos, their power threatening to unravel the very fabric of the universe. In the midst of this brewing storm, Jace Sullivan and Nikolai Petrov found themselves at the center of a conflict that would shape the destiny of countless worlds. The future of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the choices they made in the coming days would echo through the ages, forever altering the course of history. As the Prometheus glided through the inky void of space, its sensors locked onto the faint signal emanating from a distant, long-forgotten world. Captain Nikolai Petrov leaned forward in his command chair, his eyes narrowing as the planet grew larger on the screen. "Dr. Voss, what do we know about this world?" he asked, glancing over at the ship's lead scientist. Alara Voss looked up from her console, her expression a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Not much, Captain. It's a terrestrial planet, but our scans aren't picking up any signs of current inhabitants. There are, however, indications of ancient structures beneath the surface." Nikolai nodded, a sense of unease settling in his gut. "Prepare a landing party. We need to investigate those structures." As the Prometheus descended through the planet's atmosphere, the bridge crew caught their first glimpse of the alien landscape below. Towering spires of black rock jutted from the surface like the teeth of some colossal beast, while swirling clouds of dust obscured the horizon. The ship touched down on a flat expanse of gray stone, and within minutes, the landing party had assembled in the main airlock. Dr. Voss led the way, her eyes alight with anticipation as she stepped onto the planet's surface. The team made their way toward a massive cliff face, following the signal that had drawn them to this desolate world. As they approached, a hidden door slid open with a hiss, revealing a dark passage that stretched into the depths of the planet. Alara activated her wrist-mounted flashlight, the beam cutting through the gloom as they entered the ancient facility. The walls were lined with strange symbols and diagrams, the meaning of which eluded even the ship's advanced translation software. As they penetrated deeper into the complex, the team discovered a vast chamber filled with advanced technology that far surpassed anything they had encountered before. Holographic displays flickered to life as they approached, projecting schematics of devices that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. But it was the central console that drew their attention. As Alara interfaced with the system, a flood of data streamed across the screen, and her eyes widened in disbelief. "Captain, these records, they suggest that the precursors who built this place were observing and influencing the development of species across the galaxy, including humans," she said, her voice trembling with the weight of the revelation. Nikolai stepped forward, his gaze locked on the screen. "Are you saying that our entire history, our evolution, was guided by these precursors?" Alara nodded, her fingers flying across the console as she delved deeper into the data. "Not only that, but it appears they may have played a direct role in the rapid advancement of human technology in recent years." As the implications of the discovery sank in, Nikolai's mind raced with the potential consequences. If this information reached the Galactic Council, it could change everything. Light years away in the heart of the council chamber, Ambassador Jace Sullivan listened intently as his covert operative relayed the news of the Prometheus's find. His expression remained carefully neutral, but beneath the surface, his thoughts churned with the realization that this discovery could be the key to legitimizing Earth's place among the galactic powers. But even as Jace began to formulate a plan to leverage this information, a shadow fell across the room. Queen Orin, her eyes glittering with malice, leaned forward in her throne. "An interesting development, Ambassador Sullivan," she purred, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "But I fear that your humans may be reaching beyond their station. The Council will not look kindly upon a species that seeks to upset the balance of power." Jace met the Queen's gaze unflinchingly, his voice calm and measured. "The pursuit of knowledge is the right of all sentient beings, Your Majesty. Earth seeks only to understand its place in the universe, not to threaten the stability of the Council." As the two leaders locked horns in a battle of wits and will, the Prometheus and its crew found themselves at the center of a brewing storm that threatened to engulf the galaxy. The secrets they had uncovered would shape the destiny of countless worlds, and the choices they made in the coming days would echo through the ages. But even as the weight of their discovery settled upon them, the crew of the Prometheus knew that their mission was not nearly finished. With each passing moment, new dangers and challenges loomed on the horizon, waiting to test their tenacity and push them to the very limits of their abilities. As Nikolai and Alara exchanged a glance across the ancient chamber, a silent understanding passed between them. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, united in their willpower to protect Earth and unravel the mysteries that had brought them to this distant world. The console before them pulsed with an otherworldly light, a silent invitation to delve deeper into the secrets of the precursors. With a steadying breath, Elara reached out and touched the alien interface, ready to embark on a journey that would take them to the very edges of the known universe and beyond. Beyond their wildest imagination. The ancient console flickered, its alien interface responding to Elara's touch. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the Prometheus, shattering the moment of discovery. Captain Nikolai Petrov's voice crackled over the comm system. "Dr. Voss, we need you back on the bridge immediately. We've received a distress call from the human colony on Nexus Prime." Elara's heart raced as she and her team rushed back to the ship. Within minutes, the Prometheus broke atmosphere, its engines roaring to life as it set course for the besieged colony. As they dropped out of FTL near Nexus Prime, the scene that greeted them was one of devastation. The once thriving colony was now a smoldering ruin, its orbital defenses reduced to debris floating in the void. "My God," Nikolai breathed, his eyes wide as he took in the destruction. "We're too late." Before they could process the shock, the ship's sensors screamed a warning. A swarm of hostile vessels emerged from behind Nexus Prime's moon, their sleek designs eerily familiar. "Evasive maneuvers," Nikolai barked, his hands gripping the arms of his command chair. The Prometheus banked hard, narrowly avoiding a barrage of energy weapons that looked disturbingly similar to their own. As the battle raged, Elara's fingers flew across her console, analyzing the enemy ships. "Captain, their technology, it's almost identical to ours. The energy signatures match the precursor relics we found." Nikolai's eyebrows furrowed as he made a decision. "Weapons control, bring all systems online. It's time to show these bastards what the Prometheus can really do." The ship shuddered as its advanced weaponry came to life. Beams of focused energy lanced out, cutting through the enemy formation. Explosions blossomed in the darkness of space as the Prometheus unleashed its full might. But the victory came at a cost. Alarms wailed as multiple decks reported casualties and systems failures. The enemy, though driven back, had exacted a heavy toll. In the aftermath of the battle, a captured enemy soldier was brought to the bridge. Under interrogation, he revealed a chilling truth. The attack had been ordered by a consortium of alien powers, led by none other than Queen Orin herself. "She fears your connection to the precursors," the prisoner spat. "She will crush your world and any who dare align with you." As the implications sank in, the ship's sensors detected a massive energy spike. The Prometheus found itself surrounded by a fleet of warships, their weapons trained on the battered Earth vessel. Nikolai's face was grim as he turned to his communications officer. "Send an encrypted transmission to Earth. Code Red. The Dreadnought fleet must be mobilized immediately." As the message was sent, Elara's console lit up with an incoming transmission. It was Ambassador J. Sullivan, his face etched with concern. "Captain Petrov, we've intercepted your distress call. The Galactic Council is in uproar. Queen Orin's treachery has been exposed, but the Council is divided. Some denounce her actions, while others remain loyal." Jace's expression hardened. "But we're not alone. Rebel factions opposed to Orin's regime have pledged their support to Earth. An alliance is forming, but we're racing against time." As if to punctuate his words, the enemy fleet opened fire. The Prometheus rocked under the assault, its shield straining to hold. "We're outgunned and outnumbered," Nikolai growled, his eyes scanning tactical displays. "But we're not going down without a fight. All hands, battle stations. We hold the line until reinforcements arrive." As the crew of the Prometheus prepared for what might be their final stand, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now hung in the balance. The stars blazed with the fury of battle as the Prometheus found itself encircled by Queen Orin's armada. Alarms blared across the bridge, and the acrid smell of burning circuitry filled the air. Captain Nikolai Petrov's teeth clenched as he surveyed the tactical display. "We're out of options," he muttered, then raised his voice. "Commander Sokolov, report to the bridge immediately." Within moments, Kira Sokolov strode onto the command deck, her eyes alert and ready. Nikolai pulled her aside, speaking in hushed tones. I need you to lead a stealth team onto Orin's flagship. Sabotage their systems, disrupt their command. It's our only chance." Kira nodded, her expression grim. "Consider it done, Captain." As Kira assembled her team, Nikolai turned to the rest of the crew. "All hands, prepare for our final stand. We hold the line until Earth's reinforcements arrive." The Prometheus shuddered as another volley of enemy fire impacted its shields. On the planet Trisoria, Ambassador J. Sullivan's fingers flew across a holographic display, coordinating with rebel factions. "The intel from Dr. Voss is invaluable," Jace told a gathered group of alien leaders. "We can neutralize Orin's precursor-enhanced weapons, but we need to move fast." Light years away, the skies above Kowloon erupted in chaos as human dreadnoughts clashed with Orin's forces. The EDS Valkyrie led the charge, its massive cannons tearing through enemy ships. Admiral Marcus Rhodes stood on the Valkyrie's bridge, his weathered face illuminated by the flashes of battle. "Push forward, we can't let them." His words were cut short as a colossal shape emerged from the darkness of space. The precursor Dreadnought, piloted by Orin herself, dwarfed even the largest human vessels. Its weapons flared to life, and swathes of the human fleet vanished in blinding explosions. Back on the Prometheus, Kira Sokolov and her team readied themselves in the airlock. "Remember," she said, checking her weapon, "we move fast and quiet. Disable their systems and get out." The airlock hissed open, and Kira's team launched themselves into the void, using short-range thruster packs to navigate the debris-filled space between ships. They latched onto Orin's flagship, cutting their way through the hull with plasma torches. As they infiltrated deeper into the enemy vessel, Kira's comm crackled. "Commander!" Nikolai's voice came through, strained with tension. "We're out of time. You need to move faster." Kira's team fought their way through narrow corridors, engaging in brief, intense firefights with Orin soldiers. As they neared the ship's core, Kira caught a glimpse through a viewport that made her blood run cold. Queen Orin stood in a dimly lit chamber, conversing with a shadowy figure that seemed to shift and writhe in impossible ways. The emissary, Kira realized with a shock. She had only heard whispers of this enigmatic being, but now she understood the true scale of the threat they faced. Forcing herself to focus on the mission, Kira led her team to the ship's main reactor. They worked quickly, planting charges and overriding systems. Just as they finished, alarms began to blare throughout the ship. "We've been made!" one of Kira's team shouted. "We need to go now!" As they fought their way back to their entry point, the flagship's systems began to fail. Lights flickered and artificial gravity wavered. Kira allowed herself a grim smile. Mission accomplished. On the Prometheus, Captain Petrov watched as Orin's flagship began to list in space, its weapons going dark. He knew this was their only chance. "All hands, brace for impact," he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of his decision. "We're going in." The Prometheus surged forward, its engines straining as it aimed directly for the crippled enemy vessel. The impact shook both ships to their core, and for a moment, all was chaos. As the dust settled, Chris Phillips led a strike team through the breach, their goal clear: find Queen Orin and end this war once and for all. The battle was nowhere near the end, but for the first time since the conflict began, a glimmer of hope shone through the darkness of space. The fate of humanity, and indeed the entire galaxy, now hung in the balance of the next few crucial moments.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.